behind the village's board of trustees after multiple members did not attend tonight's meeting.
Tiffany Henyard's world is rapidly unraveling, and this time, it's not just rumors or whispers behind closed doors. Explosive footage, allegedly leaked by her own team, has plunged her already embattled political career into deeper chaos. The video has fueled speculation that Henyard's closest allies are turning against her, leaving her in a state of panic. Whether it's karma or a calculated effort to dethrone her, one thing is clear: her days of acting invincible are numbered. Once hailed as the self-proclaimed Queen of Dalton, Henyard's grip on power has now become a controversial spectacle, with scandals trailing her at every step. True to form, Henyard has only escalated the crisis with decisions that seem designed to invite criticism rather than resolve tension. After a board of trustees meeting was canceled due to a lack of attendance, Henyard pushed forward with critical decisions that blindsided the town. In the absence of the trustees, she brazenly appointed a new village administrator and attorney, moves seen by many as an attempt to sidestep opposition and solidify her diminishing power. This defiant, some would say reckless, approach to leadership raised alarms within the community, further exposing the cracks in Henyard's once unyielding control over Dalton. The fallout from these actions was swift. The Illinois Attorney General's office condemned Dalton for violating the Open Meetings Act on multiple occasions, including incidents in June and July, and announced an investigation into Henyard's administration. Local residents are becoming increasingly vocal, accusing Henyard of running the village like a fortress. Public meetings now take place behind locked doors, and many feel excluded from the very processes meant to represent them. Henyard has justified these drastic security measures by pointing to a sarcastic letter sent to her mother's house, written in blue marker, calling Henyard and her mother losers. While the letter was undeniably unprofessional, it hardly posed a credible threat. Still, Henyard's administration used the letter as an excuse to ramp up security at Village Hall, leading some to suspect that the heightened security was less about safety and more about maintaining control. Critics argue that Henyard's use of security concerns is simply a thinly veiled attempt to mask her increasing paranoia and desperation. The disarray within Dalton's administration continues to spiral, with residents growing more frustrated by the chaos surrounding Henyard's leadership. Attendance at public meetings has dwindled, with fewer than 20 people showing up for what Henyard touted as major announcements. This lack of public interest reflects the growing disillusionment with her antics, as many feel she is prioritizing spectacle over effective governance. Instead of stepping back and reassessing her approach, Henyard seems intent on diving even deeper into the drama. Her latest controversial move has been the appointment of a new village administrator and attorney, decisions that seem more about consolidating her power than addressing the town's pressing issues. These moves are seen as part of a strategy to replace anyone who might challenge her with loyalists who will safeguard her faltering regime. One of the most notable appointments has been Keith Freeman, a key figure in Henyard's administration who is rumored to know all of her secrets. Freeman is believed to have been brought back to act as a shield against the mounting legal and political pressure. Henyard's reshuffling of her inner circle may be an attempt to deal herself a new hand, but critics view it as a desperate bid to cling to power as her support erodes and the walls close in. What makes Henyard's situation even more bizarre is her unrelenting defiance in the face of mounting legal and public pressure. Despite the Attorney General's condemnation of Dalton for blatant violations of transparency laws, Henyard has doubled down on her controversial approach to governance. Rather than adopting a more cautious strategy, she continues to alienate the public by embracing a leadership style that leaves little room for collaboration or trust. Dalton's residents, once hopeful that Henyard's leadership would bring positive change, now find themselves dealing with the fallout of her increasingly erratic behavior. The town remains mired in financial and administrative turmoil, with allegations of taxpayer fund misuse, ongoing legal battles, and now explosive footage leaking from within Henyard's own camp. Henyard's tenure is plagued by scandal at every turn. Her actions reflect the behavior of a leader in freefall, desperately trying to shore up support through dramatic and controversial decisions. However, These calculated moves are overshadowed by the growing legal and public discontent that threatens to bring her reign to an abrupt end. Whether Henyard can survive the mounting pressure or if Dalton's residents will demand change remains to be seen. However, it is clear that her once solid grip on power is slipping fast, and the time may soon come when her tenure as mayor reaches its inevitable conclusion.
Days of notice. 10 days of notice to the public. Certainly notice to the mayor. You know what they did?
Tiffany Henyard's once formidable grip on power is steadily disintegrating as a series of scandals, questionable decisions, and internal betrayals continue to plague her leadership in Dalton. Once widely supported, Henyard's authority has sharply declined, with her increasingly desperate attempts to maintain control drawing more scrutiny than genuine support. Her push for last-minute appointments to consolidate power has only added fuel to the fire, with these actions now declared invalid by interim Mayor Jason House, further undermining her already fragile position. House was blunt in his assessment, declaring that the lack of a quorum at the meeting meant all actions taken were illegal, regardless of Henyard's insistence. Despite this, Henyard doubled down on her defiance, accusing critics of manufacturing drama and even alleging that some audience members were planted to disrupt the meeting. However, the cracks in her control are undeniable, as her inner circle continues to shrink and former allies, such as Keith Freeman, find themselves entangled in the unraveling of her administration. Freeman, once Henyard's trusted confidant and village administrator, is now embroiled in scandal and legal peril. His relationship with Henyard soured as rumors circulated that he might be cooperating with the FBI. At one point, Henyard allegedly tried to fire Freeman after suspecting he was turning on her, leading to a dramatic fallout between the two figures who had once been central to her leadership. This betrayal was further compounded by Freeman's own legal troubles, including accusations of unlawful retaliation against employees he allegedly dismissed for not supporting Henyard, as well as a federal indictment for bankruptcy fraud, accused of concealing assets and misrepresenting his income. Despite their shared history of bending rules, Henyard wasted no time distancing herself from Freeman, attempting to sever ties before their association could further tarnish her already precarious position. Freeman's legal troubles became a lightning rod for criticism, with accusations of misconduct hindering township operations and lawsuits accusing him of retaliatory firings in both Dalton and Thoron Township. However, when Henyard attempted to remove Freeman from his position, the Board of Trustees pushed back. Trustee Chris Gonzalez pointed out that no official documentation had been presented for Freeman's firing or promotion, making any such action unlawful. Gonzalez made it clear that legitimate personnel changes would require board approval, adding to the perception of Henyard's disorganized and overreaching governance. Despite Freeman's loyalty to Henyard over the years, he was discarded as soon as he became a liability, further highlighting her increasingly isolated position. The spectacle of Freeman's bankruptcy fraud charges and alleged efforts to conceal assets brought further embarrassment to Henyard's beleaguered administration. Her high-profile stunts, such as bolstering security at Village Hall over a sarcastic letter, only added to the sense of paranoia and detachment that has come to define her leadership. The letter, while an unprofessional gesture, was used by Henyard as justification for extreme security measures, symbolizing the growing disconnect between her and the community she once claimed to champion. As federal investigators close in, Henyard's fragile hold on power continues to unravel. Her actions increasingly appear driven by a mixture of desperation and denial as she attempts to reshuffle her administration and tighten her control, only for these moves to backfire and exacerbate the volatile political climate in Dalton. In distancing herself from Freeman, Henyard likely hoped to sidestep the fallout from his mounting legal issues and avoid deeper scrutiny of her own potential connections to his misconduct. However, her failure to secure the backing of the Board of Trustees or maintain the loyalty of her closest allies has left her looking vulnerable and disorganized. Freeman's downfall, rather than diverting attention away from Henyard, has only reinforced the public perception of an administration mired in controversy and self-preservation. As Dalton faces an uncertain future, residents are left grappling with the fallout of an administration plagued by infighting, scandal, and corruption. Henyard, once a figure of authority, now stands increasingly isolated as legal and political pressures mount. With allies like Freeman tarnished by scandal and internal dissent threatening to fracture her remaining support, Henyard's efforts to weather the storm appear increasingly futile. The question remains, can she survive this latest wave of challenges, or is her troubled tenure as mayor nearing its inevitable conclusion?
That's correct. We spoke with one of the plaintiffs who says that she was fired for not being a yes man.
Tiffany Henyard's once solid grip on power is rapidly unraveling as scandals, questionable decisions, and internal betrayals continue to plague her leadership in Dalton and Thorun Township. Despite her relentless efforts to maintain control, from severing ties with former allies to employing dubious legal tactics, her administration is becoming increasingly unstable. One of the most glaring signs of her crumbling authority has been the power struggle between Henyard and Keith Freeman, the village administrator whose position has been fiercely defended despite Henyard's attempts to remove him. Unlike the many employees she has dismissed in the past, Freeman has managed to stay in place, possibly due to mounting evidence of Henyard's alleged corruption. Freeman's continued role in the administration, despite his strained relationship with Henyard, suggests he may possess significant information that could jeopardize her position. Some speculate that Freeman is cooperating with federal investigators and could hold key evidence against Henyard, making him a powerful figure in this escalating drama. His survival in the administration, despite Henyard's efforts to cast him aside, has only fueled rumors about his potential role in exposing the full extent of her alleged misconduct. Adding to the fire, 3 former employees have filed lawsuits against Henyard, accusing her of wrongful termination, further threatening her already fragile leadership. As these legal battles escalate, rumors have swirled that Freeman may be working with federal authorities. This speculation has led many to believe that Henyard's push to remove Freeman isn't about his performance, but rather a fear that his cooperation with investigators could unravel the corrupt practices she has tried so hard to conceal. Henyard reportedly attempted to dismiss Freeman hastily, but her plans were thwarted when the Board of Trustees reaffirmed their support for him. Freeman's continued presence in the administration has put Henyard at a crossroads, unable to regain control of a situation spiraling beyond her reach. Tensions between Henyard and Freeman reached a boiling point during a recent meeting, when Henyard attempted to appoint replacements for key positions without proper board approval. This controversial move was widely criticized as another desperate attempt by Henyard to consolidate power amid growing opposition. With Freeman retaining his position for now, the power struggle within her administration shows no sign of resolution, and the Board of Trustees has largely backed Freeman, resisting Henyard's unilateral decisions. This standoff has left Freeman in a surprisingly strong position, particularly given the speculation about his cooperation with federal investigators. If Freeman does indeed have evidence of Henyard's wrongdoing, his continued role in the administration could pose a serious threat to her already crumbling authority. Despite the growing pressure and mounting opposition, Henyard has not relented. She recently held a town meeting, disregarding the absence of the Board of Trustees as though it were inconsequential. This unilateral approach to governance mirrors her past disregard for standard procedures, sidelining checks and balances within her administration. These actions have only fueled frustration from the board, residents, and legal observers, further cementing her image as an embattled leader determined to cling to power by any means necessary. Henyard's leadership has been marked by an authoritarian style that disregards institutional norms and actively retaliates against those who challenge her. The lawsuits filed by former employees paint a damning picture of a leader who used her position to punish those who didn't align with her agenda. Legal challenges are piling up, revealing a pattern of misconduct that extends far beyond Freeman's alleged knowledge of her dealings. Freeman's role in this unfolding drama is particularly significant, as his continued presence in the administration acts as a thorn in Henyard's side. The persistent rumors about Freeman's cooperation with federal investigators only heighten the tension, fueling speculation that his removal may have less to do with his job performance and more to do with protecting Henyard from exposure. Henyard's power struggle with Freeman highlights the increasingly precarious nature of her leadership. Despite her attempts to sideline the board and dictate terms unilaterally, Henyard faces mounting opposition on multiple fronts. The board's resistance, combined with Freeman's tenacity and possible cooperation with federal authorities, signals a shift in the power dynamics within Dalton's administration. Henyard's recent moves, including questionable appointments without board approval, have only alienated her further from those who might have once supported her. These actions reinforce the image of a leader losing control and resorting to desperate tactics to maintain a semblance of authority. At a recent public meeting, Henyard's defiance reached new heights. She dismissed the board's rejection of her appointments and dramatically blamed the controversy on a vast smear campaign aimed at destroying her reputation. "This is all just a smear campaign," Henyard asserted, attempting to shift the blame onto external forces. But despite her fiery defense, it was clear that the residents of Dalton were growing increasingly weary of her antics. One attendee boldly declared, "This isn't a question. This is me making my statement. If you don't want to hear it, there's the door. This is about your super mayor becoming too powerful too quickly." Henyard, unfazed, deflected the criticism, claiming that her actions were misunderstood and that she was simply doing what was right for the town. "Because I'm so uncommon and different. Everyone has issues with me," she said. "But I'm doing what's right for the town, and that's why people don't understand me." Her response, filled with defiance, revealed the widening gap between her and the community she once claimed to champion. The fallout from Henyard's increasingly erratic behavior has extended beyond her strained relationships with Freeman and the Board of Trustees. The legal drama surrounding her administration is escalating rapidly, with several high-profile scandals now unfolding. One of the most glaring involves Henyard's misuse of taxpayer funds, with accusations of egregious spending, including a shocking $67,000 in travel expenses for herself and her entourage in just 5 months. When additional fees she allegedly charged taxpayers are factored in, the total rises to over $100,000, prompting widespread outrage and further damaging her reputation. In a move that many see as an effort to shield herself from the mounting legal pressure, Henyard recently hired a criminal attorney to represent the village. The village will reportedly foot the bill for the attorney's legal expenses, fueling suspicions that Henyard is trying to protect herself from the growing scandals surrounding her. Henyard, however, has tried to deflect attention from the allegations by claiming that her actions have been misunderstood, even asserting that she has cleaned up the town. "We cleaned up the village when we took over," Henyard declared, pointing to her leadership as the reason for Dalton's improvements. However, her claims have been met with skepticism as residents continue to grapple with legal battles, questionable spending, and growing unrest within her administration. The legal challenges and controversies surrounding Henyard's leadership have been piling up at an alarming rate. In addition to the lawsuits filed by former employees, her administration has been accused of favoring local businesses, retaliating against employees, and engaging in unethical practices. A local barbershop owner, for example, accused Henyard's administration of locking his business license to suppress his competition. In another case, a former maintenance manager revealed that Henyard's inner circle had tried to pressure him into replacing the school board's attorney with one of their own favorites. When he refused, he was swiftly fired, further fueling suspicions about the toxic and unethical environment within her administration. Henyard's autocratic leadership style has left a trail of destruction, with increasing allegations that her administration targeted individuals who posed a political threat. As her control over Dalton and Thoron Township continues to erode, Henyard is facing growing resistance from within her own ranks. In a shocking turn of events, Henyard suffered a significant setback from an unexpected source. Carmen So, a trustee on the Thoron Township Board, who had previously been considered one of Henyard's allies. So spoke out against Henyard, accusing her of unethical and predatory behavior in her quest for power. "I believe she has acted unethically and predatory over the past 2 years," Kuzo said, echoing the growing discontent within Henyard's circle of allies. So added that she could no longer remain silent while Henyard's actions harmed the community. Henyard's leadership, once celebrated as strong and decisive, now appears to be crumbling under the weight of legal battles, corruption allegations, and public dissent. Fans and critics alike are watching this spectacle unfold, with many speculating that Henyard's downfall is imminent. Some have even compared it to a train wreck, predicting it's only a matter of time before she is indicted for her actions. Henyard's defiance in the face of mounting opposition leaves many questioning how much longer she can maintain her grip on power. With lawsuits, federal investigations, and growing resistance from within her own ranks, Henyard's time in office seems to be rapidly coming to an end. Whether she can weather the storm or whether her tenure will come to an inevitable conclusion remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: the walls are closing in on Tiffany Henyard, and it may only be a matter of time before her reign as mayor ends.